before you can get those really great brand deals, it helps to have a name in the press. And so what we want to talk to you about today, or what I want to talk to you about today, is how to, first the power of the media and how to get some, okay? I have a personal story, but also I've been behind the scenes working at many magazines and television stations, and now I have the great fortune of being on camera and writing for a lot of major publications. So I know the zeitgeist of the media and what they want and who they like to work with, and so I want to give you some of the best practices for you, whether you have a blog or a book or a podcast or a really great YouTube channel or all of the above, and how to leverage all of that to ultimately get top tier press. And so I want to start by saying that I think all of you are awesome. We've had a few drinks in us, maybe some cupcakes. I'm feeling loose. I think you're awesome, but who am I? I mean, I'm just Farnoosh, and my opinion doesn't really matter. But when you get people like, Matt Lauer and Katie Couric and the New York Times telling you you're great and endorsing you, that's when your needle starts to move. That's when your, as I say, your personal stock rises. And when those heavy hitters start to really recognize you, that's when you can start to make a measurable impact on your business, on your brand. I will tell you personally that after my first Today Show appearance, I went home and, all these people from first grade on Facebook were like, Farnoosh, oh my God, you've grown and congratulations. And frankly, in my world at the time, that was fantastic. I mean, I was celebrating that I got to rekindle with friends. My mom was able to brag about me to her friends at the gym. I was like, daughter of the year. But it wasn't until maybe 6 weeks, a month later, that I realized really what this impact had. And it was a phone call that I got it was an email I got from a rep at Bank of America, who was like, we would like to talk to you about a millennial money campaign. You just come out with this book, and we want to talk to you about leveraging it to help us gain more millennial participants. And that was my first six-figure deal. That was 11 years ago. So I suddenly became aware of really the power of the press. And whether you're someone who, again, identifies yourself as a blogger or an author, media can really catapult your brand and your business. And I'm not going to move around because I'm wearing Spanx, and it's limiting me to this podium. So I'm mobility disadvantaged right now. So let's talk about really what is the press really worth? What's it worth it to you? Now, there's this. There's selfies with Al Roker, and that's always cool. There's, people calling you out of the blue from high school, your old boyfriend, stalking you on Facebook now. That's all great. But as someone who, started her career working behind the scenes, again, I worked behind the scenes at Money Magazine. I worked at New York One News as a producer. I worked for, daily newspapers. And as someone who's been on the other side, in front of the camera, who has, been interviewed by countless press, I know that major press leads to major credibility. It elevates your brand, and it really puts you in a whole other league. And again, I was 27 years old, 28 years old. I just published a book. I thought I was just going to, publish a book to get some speaking gigs. Maybe I had actually a full-time job at the time at thestreet.com. And it was James Altucher who told me, who's going to hear from him next, who said to me, I don't know if you remember this, James, he said, this book is going to change your life. And I was like, yeah, James, because I'll be able to speak some, at some events, and, it'll be great. My mom will think I'm my daughter of the year. And he was like, no, this is going to change your life. And he actually knew more than me at the time. And he was right, because it led to deals, it led to more books, it led to TV, it led to columns with my name on them, permanent columns at magazines. And so it was incredible, but I couldn't have gotten those opportunities if I hadn't leveraged that book to get the press first. Getting your name out there really makes a difference. And as someone who's been on the other side of this, I used to work at Yahoo Finance. I had a video series called Financially Fit. every week millions of people would watch our video series, our little video series about how to save money on, dog food, and then, we would profile people who lived in tiny homes, and then occasionally we would interview authors and people who were experts in their fields. And Tom Corley, does anyone know Tom Corley? He's a FinConer. He came out with his first book, and it was called Rich Habits. And he tells this story about how he sent it to all these different people in the media to review his book. And it came across my desk, and I thought this would be actually perfect for our little web series. Not really little, because again, millions of people watched it, but it was like a 2-minute video clip. We interviewed him, and we really gave his book an endorsement, and it then caught the attention of Dave Ramsey, who then had him on his radio show, and his book went on to sell thousands and thousands and thousands of copies. If you ever meet Tom, he'll say he's busy now, former life CPA, now he's giving talks, and he's going international, and I think that, who's the guy that owns Virgin? Richard Branson, invited him to his island, you're welcome, Tom. And he attributes his new life to having leveraged press and media. And of course he had a book, but that's not enough. You need to do more than just publish a book. And we're going to talk about, again, I'm going to get to the tactics here, but how to really land major media. And the first thing is you have to demonstrate authority. If you have a book, I remember my literary agent once told me, because I was really nervous to do TV actually when my first book came out. I was like, all these people want to know my opinion. I don't know if I really have the gravitas to do that. And he goes, Farnoosh, you're an author, which is half of authority. So own it. And I was like, that's right. I didn't realize that author is actually in the word authority. So there you go. So press begets press, but you have to really first demonstrate authority. And you do that by, making sure that you are a proven expert, that you have endorsements on your website. If you've been on other media, if you've done other media that you recognize is on your homepage, that there are people out there, because producers and editors talk. We're all financial nerds. We're at a conference tonight. Well, somewhere else in New York, there's a bunch of producers getting together, and they talk shop. So having a good reputation is also very, very important. Start small. I know a lot of you came in from outside of New York City. It's important that you practice, you flex that kind of press muscle with your local paper, with your local station, and make the mistakes there. And whatever you do, capture it. So if you're on local Fox, whatever, in your town, that you have the video, that over time you collect a nice, 1 minute, 1.5 minute reel, if TV's really where you want to end up doing more press. Rub shoulders online. We all do this very well. But the good news about this, and what I really mean, is get to know the gatekeepers for the different media online. And you can easily find out who they are on Twitter, on Facebook, on social media. And a lot of these folks who are editors and producers are required to have Twitter handles, are required to have public Facebook pages sometimes, even the folks who are behind the scenes, because their bosses want them to have visibility and, an audience, so to speak, so they can catch that audience and bring it back to their flagship. But start small, because it's good practice, and rub shoulders online, tweet with these people, comment on their work. I'll tell you, a lot of times when I get pitched, the people who I have a familiarity with, because I might know their Twitter handle from the web, from Twitter, or on Instagram, there is an instant connection, and I'm more willing to read that email and maybe put them on my podcast or pitch them to a network that I'm working with. Be prolific. I tell this to my clients. I have clients now. People actually pay me to give them advice on how to leverage their books to become brands. But my one thing that I always harp on is you have to be prolific. And James is a great example of this. Always be producing content consistently. Bloggers, the importance of this. But even people who, I have a podcast, and you want to be consistent with it. But not just within that one platform. But think about every year, what's something new that I can come out with that's fresh, that's exciting, that I can get behind. So ever since I started my company in 2008, I feel like every year there's been something new for me to be excited about, whether it's a new book, a new show, a podcast, a magazine column that I'm working on. And so you're only as good as your last piece of work, I always say. You always want to have something to because that not only makes you, again, the authority in your field, but it gets you, it's an excuse basically to get in front of people, to book you on their shows, to have you in their magazines, to quote you. I remember every time I come out with a new book, it's like a license to basically get meetings with people who want to produce TV shows or produce regular segments on TV. It's just good leverage, and it's a great kind of calling card for you. So think about that as well as you're building your empire. And then, of course, there is a fast route to all of this, which is to leverage relationships. But you want to be careful about this, because I have people who come up to me a lot and they're like, hey, do you know someone from Today's Show I can pitch to? And I'm happy to make little connections for people when I feel like you've put in the work, right? That you have gotten yourself established, you've researched your topic, you are also willing to give this producer something exclusive. That's what producers want too. They want exclusivity from you. They don't want to think that you're pitching this to all of New York City. Again, because producers talk too. I used to sit at New York One News as a producer, and someone would pitch me something. And then 2 seats down, my friend, who's like the producer of the lifestyle unit, would also get pitched the same email, and that doesn't look good. You know, you don't want to send out this blast, and then you end up people talking behind your back, essentially. Like, did you get this email from Bob, this accountant turned, prolific, blogger who now wants to talk about whatever? And it's not this authentic connection either. It's just this blast. So leverage your relationships, because when you have that big idea or that big book or really good data that you've leveraged from your audience, that's good stuff. And you want to prepare as well as you can and go in for the kill. And like I said, press begets press. You just need that one really great, outstanding hit, whether it's a national TV, a national magazine, national newspaper. When I did the Today Show for the first time, literally I got off the set and my phone was ringing, and it wasn't the MSNBC, then it was CNN, and it was Glamour magazine, because they'd seen me on the show. And that's the good news, is that when you work hard and you prepare well and you get that one hit, it could open up a lot of doors. Here's for advice for folks who want to be on TV more. Who wants to be on TV more? Yeah. Come on, it's the Holy Grail. Let's be honest. I mean, Al Roker's really nice. You want to get to know him. You want to prove that you're camera ready. So when I did that Today Show hit, even though I was already an experienced television reporter, even though I'd written a book, they wanted to see me in action. The producer, and even though the producer knew me, she knew me from my days as an intern at Money Magazine, because part of my job was to take props over from Money Magazine over to the Today Show set for my boss, who was at the time the financial correspondent for the Today Show. She remembered me. She's like, Farnoosh, you have a book? Wow. And I thought this was my in. This woman knows me, and she's excited about my book. She goes, where's your reel? And I was like, oh yeah, I got that. Hold on a second. I didn't have it. Fake it till you make it. So I went back and I just collected some of the clips that I had from local media. Fox 5 here, New York 1 there. And I pieced it together and I handed it. And that still wasn't enough. She wanted assets from me, not just the book, but, okay, so how do you envision this segment coming together, Farnoosh? Really? You want me to produce a segment for you as well? Okay, I can do that. I went out in the field and I interviewed people about millennials and money. At the time, my book was called You're So Money, Live Rich Even When You're Not. So I went out into the field and I interviewed young people all over the country about why you're so money. And they used those clips exclusively for their segment, and that teed up the segment. So all this to say that you want to deliver the goods and you want to put it on a silver platter, okay? They will come back to you because they like you, you're trustworthy, you're accessible, you're an authority, and you've already been proven to them that you're not going to fail them. Producers are very busy. Editors are very busy. Writers are very busy. I have a friend at Business Insider who has to write 13 columns a week, So what does she do? She goes onto my podcast and downloads the transcript and rewrites basically pieces from my interviews, because that's how starved some of these places are for content. But you have to give it to them, and you have to make it usable. And so that's how you land major media. You don't have to hire a 5-figure publicist, because sometimes all they do for you is those blasts. You're hiring some big shot publicist. She gets her 22-year-old college grad to basically blast an email, and they boast we have all these relationships, which is true, but I feel like you could spend less time targeting one major media, and that can sometimes birth you so much more. And frankly, as someone who's been a producer, who's been an editor, I like hearing from the source. I'm more likely to engage in an email that's actually from the author, from the blogger, from the podcaster, than the big shot representative. But then the big shot representative has its advantages. They may have a relationship already with that producer, and so there's that trust there. So you're paying for that. But don't pay for the email blast. Pay for the relationship. If you are going to work with someone, pay them because they have relationships that you don't have that you can leverage. And I mentioned earlier that, shameless plug, I started a side gig, which I'm hoping to have become more of a prominent thing, but I actually started at FinCon. I gave a keynote in 2014 or was it 2015? 2014. In New Orleans about how to be. And I thought about that. I was like, how did I become me? And it happened with a book. And then that became the premise of my speech to all the FinConers, was how I leveraged this book as a young 20-something who was just excited to write a book because it would make her mother proud. And then it ended up taking on a life of its own. How did I actually, harness that and turn it into a brand and a business where I'm getting marketing deals and publishing more books, I'm doing TV, I'm having a ball, I'm having a blast. And so for prospective authors and authors to be, how do you basically do that? What are the best practices? And I've done workshops, I've done one-on-one coaching, and now I'll have a course in the fall. So if you'd like more, go to booktobrand.co, or this is like, I feel like I'm on Dancing with the Stars. Text 44222 and type book to brand, and you will be rewarded. Isn't that cool? I paid someone, and then she did that for me, who actually just had a baby yesterday. I thought I was a great multitasker, which I know is not really good. But this woman, literally, I hired her. She's great. I can tell you about her later if you're interested in hiring someone fantastic to help you with a course. Her number one client is Usher. And me. So anyway, she's great, and she did this for me. So, Cass McGrory, congratulations and thank you. And that is all, folks. Have a plan to get your class in 8 minutes.